everyone. Welcome to Dare to Share with Mistie Layne. I am your host, Mistie Layne. I am here to provide some motivation, inspiration, all in using transparency to help educate each other so that we can learn to judge less and mentor more. We really don't know what other people go through because we're not in their shoes. I used to be that person that would judge people or just simply not know how to react to something because I was uneducated about it. Um, you learn, and there's a chapter in my book, What Goes Up. There's a chapter called Never Say Never because we learn we don't know, especially with domestic violence. That was the biggest one for me. Is you just don't know what it's about till you're in it, and judging people is just we don't have time for it. We don't have room for it. We need to be spreading love and affirmations and hope for other people and inspire them to be better, learn from our mistakes. So that's what this platform is all about. My company is hashtag Be That One, and I just encourage you to step up, share your raw truth with transparency to help educate. And this show is Dare to Share because I do put a call out there for you to dare to share with me transparently all the things that you went through, any kind of adversity you've been through that you feel may help someone else. I'm excited to have you here today. We have a wonderful guest coming on, Miss Cynthia Dales. I'll be bringing her on shortly. But first, I need to go through all the little housekeeping things. I want to ask you to go ahead and share this out for me, if you would. You just never know who might hear this that is a friend of a friend of a friend that might need to hear this very message today. So please go ahead and share this out. Also, I want you to go over to to my Facebook page, hashtag Be That One, and join the group. In July, we're going to be gearing up for some exciting workshops and some freebie counseling and writing stuff going on in there. Also, if you want to learn more about my platform, go to mistielayne.com. You can order my book, What Goes Up, on there to get a signed copy, or you can order the book, What Goes Up, on any of your bookstores, Walmart, Target, Amazon, any of that as well. Okay, and one last thing. If you want to be a guest on the show and actually be interviewed, then please type the word guest in the subject line and email it to mistielayne@mistielayne.com. There's a lot of confusion. I put a little thing about that last night. People thought they had to sign up to be a guest to watch the show tonight. So I wanted to clarify that if you want to be a guest on the show, that's what I want you to do with that. All righty, and so I am going to be bringing Miss Cynthia Dales on now. She is an amazing, amazing lady that inspires many every day. She has transformed her life, and she's now an author. She's got a bunch of exciting things coming up in the future. So without further ado, I want to welcome Miss Cynthia Dales. Come on in. Hi. I can't hear you.
Oh, can't hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay, good.
How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me on. I really
Yes, I hear you now.
Oh, good. Okay.
Thank you for being on. I appreciate you being here, Cynthia. So we're going to be talking about your journey today. Before we get started, I want to ask you, what are the things in your life today that you're the most proud of? What are some things you've accomplished that Cynthia is most proud of today?
Oh, that's a tough one right out of the chute there. Well, I guess the biggest thing I'm really excited about that I've recently accomplished was I became a certified fitness trainer, a certified nutrition coach, and a certified transformation specialist. And so those are something that right now that I'm extremely proud of because now I have the certifications and the knowledge to be able to help people in their lives. And that's something that I need to do to be able to give
back. Cynthia, did you ever think throughout all your time, because I know you shared with me you've been obese most of your life, did you ever think throughout all the years that you would ever be a fitness coach or running in marathons or anything like that?
No, I never, as I talked about in the chapter in my book, in my 20s, my high weight was 292 pounds and I was miserable. And I never in a million years would have thought that I would be where I'm at now and being healthy and helping others to achieve that goal. I never would have ever thought that I would be here.
Did you ever dream about it? I know I've been overweight as well, and I have a daughter that's a runner. She's actually an Olympic silver medalist for distance running. She's a very dedicated and very what's the word? She's just really strict with herself about her fitness. And I've
Mhm.
always dreamt of being a runner. And it for other reasons. I developed early, had large breasts. I had a breast reduction, and I thought, well, maybe then I would be a runner. But I've never been a runner, and I've dreamed of it. Have you ever dreamt of it too?
I did dream of being a runner, but I also had to be realistic. Clint Eastwood says a man's got to know his limitations, and a woman has to know their limitations too. There's a lot of people out there that want that fitness journey, but it has to be modified. For me, I have a degenerative disc disease, so know a lot about modifying exercises for people that have back issues and those type things. I did run. I did a lot of running. Um, and I enjoyed it. I did it for the charity part of it because I wanted to support the different charities. And it was wonderful, but I also know it's extremely hard on my body. And I had to finally go, this isn't where my gifts are. And even though I love it, I had to find another way to find out what my physical fitness thing was. And so, but I agree. I know how it is to really, really, really want to do something super bad, and you just don't ever think you're going to get there, you
Never
know?
do.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's important that guests like you come on to platforms like this and share, because it gives us hope that, well, hey, if she can do it, why not me? Because a lot of times, we say, why me, why me, why me? But I've learned to say, why not me? Why can't I have the things she has? And with me, and I know a lot of people out there are going to identify with what I'm about to say, is I can help the next person all day long. I know exactly what to do on a diet. I know which diets work for what. I know all the exercises I need to do to work on all those areas I don't like. But when
Mhm.
it comes to doing it for Misty, it seems I lack either the love, the motivation. I don't know if it's a head game about I don't feel I deserve it or what it is, but it's a struggle and it's so real, and people don't realize that obesity is it's real. It's hard as heck. I was a crack addict, and
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm off of that now, but thankful God I am. But food is tough. It's tough to get away from.
It's the only addiction that you can't totally walk away from because you have to have food to survive.
You do.
And and I work with a lot of women clients. I've worked with a couple of men, but as women, we tend to put everybody else ahead of us. We take care of our families, we take care of our house, we take care of our spouses, we take care of our jobs, and we put ourselves at the back of the line. And that's the biggest mistake is we need to take care of ourselves. And here's why. We all have a story. We all have a story that we need to share. And if we don't share that and don't take care of ourselves, we're being selfish because we all have something to offer in this world. And that's what's so important. We all can make an impact. Um, you know, and we all have to deal with that bully in our head. And that was my biggest issue is I had this bully that would say things that I would say things to myself that I would never say to anybody else. I was so hard on myself and so in
Like
getting,
like what? Give me an example of what you're talking about.
oh, I was like, you're fat. You're ugly. You can't do this. You're not good enough to do this. Self-confidence. I did not have any self-confidence. I was not, it was brutal. It was just brutal. And I hated myself. I'm going to be a little graphic here, but I had a very large stomach. I carried a lot of my weight in my stomach. And I remember holding on to that and thinking, if this was gone, if this was just gone, I would be a different person. But it was so much more than that skin. and that fat being gone. It's so much more than that. You know,
Yes.
anybody can lose weight. Anybody can do it. I've done it. I've lost 100 pounds multiple times. Anybody can lose weight. I was an expert. As I said in the book, I'm an expert at losing weight. I just couldn't keep it off. And until I figured this out and dealt with the issues up here, I knew I was never going to be successful. And now, am I saying I'm perfect now? No, I'm not. But I've learned that 80% of the time I try and be on my nutrition, and the 20% I live my life, because we all have those events that we need to go to, or you want a taste of something, and that's fine. Unless it's a slippery slope, then you got to stay away from it. But it's not about being perfect, you know.
Yeah.
I remember um, when I wrote about this in the chapter that I wrote, and it was such a short chapter, and it's a little difficult a story, but I think I shared it with you too. That when I went in, when my dad had small cell lung cancer, I had lost weight. I thought I was doing pretty good. I was down in the low, 200s, and I remember every single machine in the hospital that had Boston baked beans, because that was one of my favorite candies. And I remember I was eating it, came into the room, and my dad was one of those people that when he spoke, you listened, because what he
Right.
said was very profound. And he said to me, "Honey, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" And he said, "You've worked so hard. Don't let what's happening to me affect you." And it was just like, boom, and we all need that person in our life, that cheerleader, that accountability person that's going to be there to support us. And that's what I love doing, is cheering people on and being that support for them to make their journey.
Yeah, I agree. And I just put the information down. So the name of the book you're referring to is Own Your Dreams. It's a collaborative book, if I understand it right, by Dr. Ona Brown, Les Brown's daughter.
Mhm.
And I did read your chapter, and it was very inspiring and very moving, and I could relate to so much of it, as I know many of the viewers will relate to it. And I would hope that they would go out and tell us where they can find that book, Cynthia.
It's supposed to be released on Amazon. I will post a link on my social media when it is. I have an advanced copy here. Let me see. There it is.
There it
Um,
is. All right.
Yeah. And so I'm really excited about this, because I want to be able people to get, so I can give back, for people to relate. And if I can help them on their journey, that's what I want to do, is to be able to help people achieve their goals, whether that's weight loss, whether that's whatever they have, that's, nutrition, whatever.
I've always told myself that, I keep telling myself I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I had gastric sleeve surgery 4 years ago. I lost about 55 to 65 pounds, somewhere in there. I wasn't extremely, I mean, by definition, it was a successful surgery. But for me, I didn't get skinny. Still 200 pounds. I didn't get skinny like everybody I saw around me get little bitty skinny. So to me, it was a big fail. And it's an ongoing thing. So I've told myself, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm 52 now. I keep saying to myself, I want to enjoy life. I want to rock climb. I want to jump out of a plane. There's things I want to do before I die, but my weight just holds me back. It keeps me from doing things because of my insecurities. And I've oftentimes thought, if I started a YouTube channel and just started day one with a diet, with an exercise program, and had people follow me, that I would be forced and held to being accountable to it. And it takes a lot of nerve to do something like that. And I applaud anyone out there that does that, because once you're in, you're locked in. And if you're trying to start a business and it's your brand, you're going to do it. Right.
Oh,
And I
exactly.
haven't found the courage for that yet. And I'm hoping one day I will. But, you know, I applaud you for everything you're doing, but I do want to back up a little bit, because we kind of jumped ahead. But I want to go back to when you talked about you used to bully yourself, and you told yourself things like you were fat, you were ugly. Did you have anyone in your life telling you those things? Were there kids at school? Was there siblings? Was there boyfriends? Did you ever have any outside voices telling you those things?
Yeah, I did. Actually, I was very bullied in middle school and high school. I mean, it was crippling. bullying. It was beyond, and to the point of almost sexual harassment. Um,
Um,
I even had as and back then, I didn't know what that was. I was young. And then even at some of my jobs, again, when you start getting confidence in yourself and you start feeling good about yourself, and that I had some very rough encounters with men and approaching me, and not nice things were said. And it's like I had to wrestle with that mentally and say, you know what, that's not on me, that's on them. Um, I know that Jason Cisneros, and when we went to Velocity last year, I went into that. I had lost the weight, but I was just stuck, and I was in a miserable situation. And I remember I was sitting there thinking, man, what's now? And I just remember Jason Cisneros having us yell, I'm not broken.
I'm not
I'm not
working.
broken.
Yep,
And the tears and everything just came because it was like, no, I'm not broken. And I've got something to offer. And I need to get it together and get out there and do this. I can do this. I needed somebody to tell me that I wasn't broken and that I was worth something, because you get beat down. And especially, we are our own worst enemies when it comes to being obese. We are our own
absolutely.
worst enemies. We beat ourselves up terribly. And so working through that, and really the past year has been an amazing journey. It's been an amazing journey of just processing through that, taking that step out there, putting it out there, starting training people and working with people, starting to figure out who I am and how I can give back and help others. That's just been, and it's so rewarding for me. It is just unbelievably rewarding. I get so much out of it. I'm very blessed by it.
I've always said that everyone has a story, like you said in the beginning. We all have our own story, and I've always said that I feel what makes us who we are is what we choose to do on the other side of our addiction or affliction or adversity or whatever it is. Some people will sit in it, be shamed of it the rest of their life, wallow around in self-pity, and then there's some people that will come out of it and use that mess as a message to help others. And it took me a while, and again mentioning Jason Cisneros because he is one of my mentors. It took me learning how to give and how that meant I would get, because I didn't quite get that whole process. But now I understand it. The more service I do to help others, the less attention I put on myself, the more confident I feel. I feel more useful. I feel like I have knowledge that's helping someone. So therefore, why beat myself up? It's kind of like shifting gears. You take all that attention, negativity that you're putting on yourself, you turn it into positivity to serve someone and help them. And it's very uplifting, isn't it?
It's I have a client that I'm working with right now, and it's her successes are my successes. And why I say that is when she is achieving her goals, it just it's I'm getting so much back from it. It's more than just,
Yeah,
a payment of a client. It's just, it really fills my cup. And I think that's part of that struggle too, Misty, is that we empty, as women, we're constantly pouring out of our cup and pouring out of our cup, and we don't refill, and we don't take time for us. It's the oxygen mask thing. It comes down, and they say put yours on first before you help others. And that's
right.
what we need to do. You can't, you've got to take care of you, and whatever that is, you got to take care of you.
Yeah,
And I'm just such a strong proponent of that, we can't be selfish. We have to be here, and we have to share our story.
absolutely. I know that both of us are big followers of Dr. Doug Vong, Dr. V, the V Tribe. And one of the things he tells us every day is to just be better.
Yep.
Strive to be better, in whatever way that means. Now, some people are. Danny Torres, I don't know if you know him. He's another friend of mine that I follow with them, the whole Misfit Nation tribe that I'm in. He had a post the other day on Facebook that talked about a woman he sat down next to in the airplane, and she was obese. and took up a lot of the room. And she kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry to him. He said, why are you sorry? And she
Mhm.
said, because nobody wants to sit next to the fat person. I'm taking up all the room. And he said, are you happy with yourself? Do you feel happy with your life? And she said, well, I am a happy person. He said, then be happy and quit apologizing for being happy. Some of us just need to be obese and love ourselves. I mean, if we're healthy, I think the media, like especially as women, our young women in the country have such a strict, what the movies and TV and everything puts on what we're supposed to look like. And young girls are starving themselves, literally starving themselves to fit and conform to this. And I think some of us just aren't meant to be little twigs. I mean, we have to also learn to love how we are, who we are in our body. And I think if our inner self glows, it doesn't matter what we look on the outside. People are going to see beauty in us no matter what.
Absolutely. And I want to address that about the youth too, and the fact that, everything's Photoshop, nothing's real,
Yeah,
and that's why it took me a bit to get past, everybody wants to have that perfect image and da da da. It's like, you know what? I just turned 55, and I I have spent the first half of my life being afraid and not stepping out. And it's like, I'm not going to do that anymore, because I know that there are women and men too that need to have somebody that's going to be out there. And I'm goofy, I do goofy stuff, but you know what? We have to make that journey together to get healthy. And I don't care if you're a size 10 and you're healthy, or you're a size 14 and you're healthy. That's awesome. You know,
yeah,
I want to give you a quick story here, because a lot of people are knowing me as the vegan sleever.
right.
I recently went vegan in November, and the backstory is, I thought I was healthy. I thought I had beat all the diseases. I thought I was great. Well, you know what? Genetics, you can't outrun genetics. And
Mm-mm.
so I had a calcium score done, CT score done,
CTA. Mhm.
and they told me, the cardiologist said it was the highest number he had ever seen in someone my age.
Oh my goodness.
And I was terrified. I thought, I'm going to have a heart attack. I'm going to have a stroke. How can this happen?
And this is after you'd lost the weight, right?
After I'd lost the weight.
So
So
didn't losing the weight alone didn't cure everything.
that's right. You can be a size 8, and let me tell you, you can be a size 8 and still have health conditions. You have to take care of the whole body. So I went in, and my doctor, my cardiologist at the time says, well, you have to be perfect. And I'm like, well, what the Sam Hill does that mean? Well, you have to be perfect. Your blood pressure has to be perfect. Your cholesterol has to be perfect. Your triglycerides have to be perfect. Well, how do I do that? Well, you just have to be perfect. And I was dumbfounded. I left
Yep.
the office in tears. And I got home and I go, okay, well, Google tells us everything else. So I said, what do you do to lower your calcium score? And it said, go plant-based or vegan. So November 1st, I said, okay, I'm now a vegan. And I did that through the holidays, cold turkey, no meat, no
Wow.
dairy, no nothing. I said, that's it. And it was an adventure. It was fun. If you're going to do that, I suggest you go vegetarian first. It's an easier transition. But in just 60 days, my numbers dropped dramatically,
You're talking
dramatically.
about your cholesterol numbers?
My cholesterol dropped 102 points. My
Wow.
tri- my triglyceride dropped over 100 points. My
Wow.
A1C was normal. So I was like, okay, so I have my 6 months labs coming up, because I went and had an angiogram done, where they run, into your
Yeah.
heart, and they looked at it and they said, if you're going to have coronary artery disease, they said, you have the best kind, because it's on the outside of the wall of the artery. It's not clogged in the middle. And I was like, okay. So she said to me, you don't have to be perfect. I found a woman cardiologist that said she was tired of women being placated by male cardiologists. And she
Yeah.
said, no. But I remember waking up from anesthesia, and she told me, she said, you don't have to be perfect. And that's when it hit me. We can't be perfect. We have to live our lives. But 80% of the time, or the majority of the time, we keep our nutrition on point, and we live that other 20%. Because tell me I'm wrong. How many times have you gone to a party and you thought, I'm just going to have a salad, I'm just going to do this, I'm just going to do that, I'm going to have my lean protein. Trust me, I'm a gastric sleever. You're just going to do this, this, and this. You get there, and there's that one thing that you see that you're like, oh my gosh, I have to have it. Okay. And you can live your life that way and say, okay, I'm not going to have it. And you restrict and you restrict and you restrict. And then what happens? Boom, you eat the refrigerator. So
My
don't do.
my my admission here to what I do, still do, you know, is I'll pre-plan my food and do so good and pack my lunch for the next day, and I'll get there and have it ready to eat, and maybe I'll even eat it, and then here comes the drug reps with Jason's Deli or Mexican food or whatever it is that day, and we have a spread of food in the lounge of tons of stuff, and I eat that too. So not only did I eat my healthy portion, now I've eaten that plus more. I mean, it's like, really?
Nope.
How hard? It's like that food's never going to go away. Like, it's like we're just, it's food is such a, it's the center of my world, basically. It's, I'm Italian. I've grown up my whole life. Every event was centered around what are you bringing? What food are you cooking? Who's planning the meal train? And food is the center of the wedding, the center of the party, the center of everything. And it's so hard to get out of that mindset to be able to walk by that lounge and not even go in there and say, no, I've got the food that's healthy for me. Because we don't think about it as, am I eating nutritious? It's, it tastes good. I want it kind of thing.
Yeah, and then that's the big key there is people have a stigma, oh, this is bad food, and oh, this is good food. And I was working with a nutrition a therapist, and her comment was, it's not good or bad food, it's nutritious food and not as nutritious food. And once you make that switch in your head, you think, oh, well, is this nourishing my body the way I want it to, or is it not as good for me or not as nutritious for me? And a lot of people do that because what happens is you restrict and you restrict and you restrict. Oh, I'm gonna eat 1,200 calories a day. I'm gonna eat 12. Well, then you do that for 2 or 3 days, and then you eat a ton of food, like you said. Somebody brings something, then you eat a ton of food, and all the work you've done that whole week is a moot point. So why not eat more food? You have 1,400 calories consistently in nutritional deficit, but you're not going to binge. You're not going to go. And when I use the term binge, when I get that title, I mean eating a bunch of food because it tastes good, you want to eat it that day, or you're thinking, well, I've restricted for 2 weeks, I'm just going to eat what I want to eat. That's what I mean by binge. So my whole premise where I teach my clients is, let's up the calories a little bit, still keeping you in the deficit, but to also make it so that you're not going to want to go out and eat fried donuts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm having a really hard time. Your sound went kind of muted. Like, I'm not sure what just happened, but it's like you're underwater.
Yeah, it sounded like a car in the background.
That's better. I don't know. What did you do different? Something?
Nothing. Nothing. It sounded like a car went by or something. That was weird.
No, the whole, like, I could hear you, but you were very muffled. But you're back
Oh,
on track. I hear you loud now.
okay.
Um,
So anyway,
yeah, go ahead.
what I was saying was when I work with clients is to give them more flexibility in their diet instead of trying to restrict them so much because they can't live with it. We can't live within that. So to work with people to say, hey, let's try and find something. And everybody's different. Everybody has a different thing. And that's what I have to learn is everybody works differently. So to work within how their body works. And that's the thing. So many people do a cookie cutter diet and say, well, you've got to eat this way or what. No, everybody's different. And it's just finding what works for you.
Yeah, I thought keto was working for me for a while. I was in ketosis. I was doing good. And then my gallbladder started killing me. I mean, I knew I had a gallstone. I'd had it for a couple of years, but that keto really threw my gallbladder into a tizzy, and to the point where I'm scheduled for surgery to have it out now because it's just the high fat diet, and I know there's good fats, the avocados, different things. There's good fats and bad fats, but just overall that high fat diet, just my gallbladder just wasn't tolerated. Keto works great for a lot of people. They've done well on it. But for me, in my current situation, it wasn't working. So I just want to take a minute and ask those of you that are watching on Facebook to go ahead and just make some comments. Tell us that you're here. Throw some hearts up for Cynthia. If you're watching from any of the other live streams, you can't comment, but we appreciate that you're here. And thank you for joining us. This is Miss Cynthia Dales, and I wanted to share with you real quick a book that's out coming. It's called Own Your Dreams by Dr. Ona Brown. That Cynthia is one of the co-authors in it. It's due to be out pretty soon on, whoops, I'm sorry. Hold on one second. I just thought I was sharing it the whole time and it wasn't there. Hold on one second. It is due to be out soon. I think, right, Cynthia, on Amazon, you said?
Correct.
Okay, so be watching for that. Start following Cynthia. She's the Vegan Sleever on Facebook, Vegan Sleever. Just start, or C, what was the other one? C. Odell's on Instagram. Let's see, I have it here somewhere. There it is. Or CL Dells on Instagram. Start following her, and then you can see when that book will be out. So I also have a quick clip I want to share with everyone, because I know we're going to talk some more about how you lost the weight, and then we're going to get to the part about what you do now. But just as a little precursor, I want to show from your YouTube channel. I just want to share one of your little clips. Hold on one second. I'm going to pull it up. Let's see here.
You're still high tech.
Literally, you're just going to have your hands on the wall and you're going to go up like you're doing an overhead press, but your arms are up against the wall and they come back down. So your back's flat. And what we're helping here is strengthening shoulders, range of motion here. And this is what you do. So you have your back and you're just going to up and down, just like this. Do this about 10 times, and you can do this multiple times a day. Okay, don't get carried away, go slow. Because there's some other things we can work on with posture and also building up some shoulder strength without weights. What I wanted is back in the day, you probably remember these from high school, but arm circles are great because again, you're working on your range of motion in your shoulders. Make sure you're standing up tall, okay, forward and backward.
So what I loved about that, Cynthia, is that it's just very simple. It's a very simplistic, just kind of down to earth kind of thing. And that's the way Cynthia's YouTube channel is. I know she does recipes and does smoothies and walks you through different things on there. But I loved your walking one. It's like, I'm walking. And it was like, it's not hard. I'm just walking. And it's just literally you walking around. And I'm like, well, heck, that's easy.
I was seeing some kids and we were trying to come up with a video that they could do walking and doing some exercises in between intermittently. And so I put that together for I was training some preteens that I absolutely loved working with. They were great. And so we kind of put that together as a fun little thing. And it's just my goofy, silly stuff. So, but you know, it's easy stuff, it's easy stuff that we can do.
Well, that's why I wanted to show it, because I want people to get a feel of your personality and a feel of how you are as a coach. Because I've, been putting up here your website, cynthiadales.com, so people can get in touch with you. Because, everybody, you just take an affinity to someone's personality. And I think finding the right coach to do what you want them to do is going to be where your success is. And instead of trying to struggle with someone that just doesn't get you, So let's go back though, Cynthia. So we talked about you being bullied. We talked about you bullying yourself and all that self-negative talk that you used to tell yourself. You're fat, you're ugly, you don't deserve this. And you said obese pretty much your whole life, even as a kid in school and everything, got bullied by the kids, the middle school kids. But let's move out later in life. If you're a mom now and you're taking care of, you're working and you're taking care of life and everything, and your dad got ill. Talk to me a little bit about how, because what I'm trying to get out here is what we all look for, that thing that's going to switch in our head and say, okay, I'm going to get up and do it now. And I'm really going to do it this time. So your switch went off and you know exactly when it was. So I'd like for you to share with us what that was like and how it kind of catapulted you forward.
That was what I wrote my chapter about in the book, was embracing your why. And that's what my biggest thing is figuring out your why. Figuring out why you want to get healthy and why you want to lose the weight and take care of you. The biggest thing I can say to that is, for me, it was, when my dad was dying, he was afraid to leave my mom, and how my mom was going, what was going to happen to my mom. And I told him the day that he passed away, I told him, Dad, it's okay. You can go home and I'll take care of mom. Um, it took me about 5 more years to figure out what I needed to do to finally get myself together enough, to have gastric surgery and make the transition to start losing the weight to get healthy. Because what happened was, I thought, I'm getting sicker. I was almost 50. I was 39 years old. And I went into the doctor. I wasn't feeling well. And she said, you're pre-diabetic. Your cholesterol's high. Your triglycerides are high. And I went, that's it. That's it. I'm not going to fulfill my promise, to not only to my dad, but to myself. I'm not going to fulfill that if I don't get healthy. And you can't, the one thing I want to say is, and that was part of the learning process for me, is you can say you're doing it for your kids, or you're doing it for your spouse or whatever, but you have to do it for you. You have to
Absolutely.
do it for you. That's the key to this whole thing, is finally learning to love yourself enough to say, I am worth it. I am worth taking the time and putting myself first. And you don't worry, you're not being selfish. You're not. You're putting yourself first to take care of you. That's the most important thing. And that's when it finally hit me. It was like, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to take care of me, because I can't take care of anybody else if I don't take care of me. And
Absolutely.
that's when it
And
finally.
I think what you just said too is it has to be for us. It can't be for like our kids or our job or that role in the play or whatever it is, because it will never be sustainable that way.
Yep.
I talk in my book. What goes up is in my book. I think you've even read that, haven't you, Cynthia?
Mhm.
Yeah. I talk about. I have a chapter in my book called "Cope Equals Hope," and in that journey, in that cope is a 4-step method where I talk about um, having to love yourself and having to put your, you have to. I guess it's more of acceptance of yourself and that self love and everything, because if you don't put the work in, and I think you said this in your chapter too. Let me see, I even wrote it down here. You said it about being a caterpillar. Put the work. Caterpillars must go through a lot of hard work, is what you said, to get out of that cocoon to be a butterfly. So now it's time, if we want to be a butterfly, then we need to do the work, and it's not easy. When I had my gastric sleeve surgery, I thought, I even told my coworker, I was so excited. I said, I can't believe it. In 1 year, I'm going to be skinny. Oh my God, I'm going to be skinny. It's just going to poof. It's going to happen. No, it doesn't just happen. Just because you get your 80% of your stomach cut out, sure, you're going to lose some weight. You're going to also lose some hair. You're going to lose a lot of things. You lose friends, you lose spouses, you lose jobs. There's all kinds of things that go along with that. But if you don't put that work in, you're not going to lose the weight, and you're absolutely not going to sustain the weight loss that you do have. So,
Exactly. Because those habits come back. If you don't stay vigilant, it'll come back. It'll come back. It'll totally come back.
yeah, I've got a list here from your chapter. I went ahead and typed them into the banner here. Some tips that you gave us. Here's the first one. You said, admit you have an unhealthy relationship with food. So we're going to quickly go through about 10 of these, and just kind of quickly brush and add to each one. So go ahead.
Yeah, the biggest thing is to just realize that you have an issue with food, and admit that to yourself. Just admit it. Say it to yourself. You have to finally own that. To own that and say, I have an issue with it.
Okay. The second one was why. You find out what your why is. So why do you want to change?
Yep.
Why is
You
that
got
important?
you got to you have to have that why, because when the tough times hit, and they're going to, That donut's going to call you in the middle of the night. But not only that, it's going to be a struggle when you hit that first stall, or, you don't want to get up and do the exercise. You've got to remember that why you're doing this, why you want to change.
And so like for instance, a why wouldn't be to fit into that black dress before the Christmas party, or the why wouldn't be, so I could wear short shorts at the company picnic. It's deeper than that, right? It's about because I want to live a life longer to be here. I want to rock climb. I want to accomplish things I want to do, right? It's a deeper why than those other things, correct?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. All right, and the third one is educate yourself about your weight loss options, find what is best for you. So talk about weight loss options there.
Well, whether that's, some type of diet program that you want to use, whether it's gastric surgery, you know, um, for me now, knowing what I know now, would I go back and have gastric surgery? I don't know, because I've learned so much about my journey and going through it. But sometimes you need that tool, and don't be ashamed. That's the one thing I have to say, and I'm probably going to get a little emotional about it, but don't be ashamed that you have to have that surgery. It's a tool, and I know people get mad when you say it's a tool, but it's a way for you to get the weight off in the beginning, because a lot of people think it's a magic pill. Oh, you have your stomach removed. Great. You're thin, like you said. No, here's the thing, you're immortal for 9 months to about 12 months. And then after that, guess what? You are right back to being mortal again, and you struggle with every pound just like everybody else does. It's to help that have a large chunk get some of that off, to get that motivation to keep going. But you have to change the habits. If you don't change your habits, you're going to end up right back where you were.
Yeah, and my immortalness didn't last 9 months. Mine lasted about four.
Yeah.
And going back, I know exactly what I did wrong. I did not know about Dr. V. I had mine done in Tijuana because my insurance wouldn't pay for it in the States. And I had no support group. And I had the sassy sleevers. I had your normal Facebook. There's a couple of groups I would, talk to people in, but I didn't have any accountability anywhere. And so I didn't learn about Dr. V and start following him and all his wonderful knowledge he has as a bariatric surgeon till way later in my journey. Had I found him early on, I probably would have been much more successful. But for me, it was eating too fast and
Mhm.
taking too big of bites, and it
Yeah.
stretched me right back out. So I did. I didn't last. I didn't even get a full 9 months of it. So yeah, find what works for you is what she's trying to say. Find what works for you. And also, I want to just say I agree with you on that about being shamed, because I know people that have had gastric sleeve or gastric bypass, and it's a secret. They
Yeah.
won't tell anybody. And I don't know if it's shame, embarrassment, or what it is, but I mean, I never really truly understood all that, because me having it myself, hi Kristen, nice to see you here. Um, Having it myself, I wasn't really ashamed of it. I felt a little bad that I needed it, that I wasn't strong enough to do it on my own, considering I had been strong enough to do so much other stuff in my life. But when it came to me, like I said, I've never had that strength. Okay, so let's move on. I think the next one was okay, being mindful.
Yes.
What does that mean, Cynthia?
Well, being with your food. In other words, I think in today's society, we're all on our cell phones. We're all eating in front of the TV. We're on the go, and we're not mindful when we eat. We're not really enjoying our food. We don't take the time to really prepare a meal and sit down and eat that meal, and even have a conversation. The other thing with mindfulness is really thinking about when you're eating, instead of doing this, put that fork down in between bites. Take the time to chew your food, enjoy it, taste it, really taste it. I have to tell you, when I went vegan, I was shocked how different foods tasted. When you get a lot of the processed food out of your diet and you're eating more plants and fruits and those type things, it's amazing how wonderful some of those things taste. And part of that is getting all that processed garbage out of your diet and really starting to cook and enjoy cooking. Cooking's fun. I've done a couple cooking videos, but it's actually fun to do. but to take the time to really enjoy it and not just to drive through while you're driving, enjoy it and take your time. You said eating fast. We all eat fast. And I'll tell you, my kid, that's one of the biggest things that, and I'm not dogging on the school system, but they only give them like 30 minutes for lunch. Those kids have to shoot and go.
Yeah.
And so they learn from very young age to eat really fast. And they wonder why we have an obesity epidemic.
I know for me, I'm like I said, I'm 52. Me and people in my generation probably will understand this. Growing up, back before social media, before everybody was addicted to these things, we would sit around our table every night and have family dinner. We would all sit down together, eat our food, talk about our day. We didn't have all the distractions. But one of the things that I was told repeatedly, and this was mostly during like my preteen years, was eat every bit of that. Don't you know there's starving people in Africa or there's starving people around the world? Don't you dare leave those peas on your plate. Eat every bite.
Yeah.
So I was conditioned to no matter what the meal size was given to me, that I had to eat it all. And I still struggle with that because, I always get kids' meals portions because of my sleeve. And even then I still like, oh, I have to eat it all, or I paid for it. I got to eat it all, whatever it is. I have a hard time just throwing food away. And I don't know if anyone else has a problem with that comment because it is like literally encrypted in my brain. One of the things I really appreciate about Dr. V early on when I started following him, he was talking a lot about when you chew your food, visualize what kind of person probably planted it. Was it done on a farm, or was it done on a large scale farm? Think about the plant itself, what it looks like. Really take time to taste the flavors in it and think about the sunlight and how it grew, and it just forced you to slow down. And then from there he taught me to be more broad in my selection, like you were talking about,
Yep.
to go to the grocery store and pick up a fruit you'd never seen before, and try it. Take it home and try it with your kids. And my son and I did that. We tried jackfruit and all kinds of weird looking, exotic looking things that we don't eat on a day to day basis. It doesn't come in a wrapper. So it was really nice to kind of broaden that and realize our soil is so nutritionally depleted as it is, especially with nitrogen. It's so depleted to begin with that nutrients we're getting from our farmed vegetables aren't even what they were 50 years ago. So
Yep.
we're already at a deficit. So we really do need to broaden that selection to get all those nutrients in, right?
Yep, eat it. Go if you go to farmers markets, if you can grow it yourself, try to stay as organic with organic fruits and vegetables as you can. That's the thing. I work with a lot of my clients. I tell them your plate, go to a smaller plate if you need to, but 50% of your plate needs to be fruits and vegetables. 50%. A quarter of it is your protein source, whatever that might be, if you're vegan or if you're a meat eater. And then the other quarter is a complex carbohydrate. But keep that formula. And if you need a sweet treat in the evening or whatever, have a small piece of fruit. But 50%, 50% of your plate needs to be vegetables. It'll slow you down. It'll slow you
Yeah,
down. And
it
the one
will.
thing I will say when I'm talking mindful, fiber is not a big thing in our diets anymore, and we need fiber. If you want to lose weight, fiber is fiber and water. Fiber and water are huge. They're
So,
huge
so
components.
quickly give us some idea of what are some good fiber foods.
Well, any of your grains, aramith, quinoa, they have fiber in them, lots of fiber. Chickpeas, any of those type things, those are also protein. And like your vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower. I mean, I tried recently, I baked cauliflower with some tahini and some satar on it. I roasted it. Oh my gosh, I almost made myself sick. It was so good. Roasted chickpeas. I roast chickpeas with satar and different spices on them to use on my salads, but I eat a salad almost every day. If I don't have it for lunch, I have it for dinner. I have a smoothie in the morning or I have a vegan protein shake. But fiber is huge. Apples, instead of eating a cup of applesauce, have an actual apple. There's a lot of fiber in there. And if you're a sleeper, it's going to fill you up really fast. I can still only eat about a half an apple, and I'm 6 years out from surgery.
Yeah.
But fiber's huge. Fiber's
So
huge.
is a slice of wheat bread fiber?
It depends on the wheat bread. You really need to turn it over and look at the label. The more whole grain it is, the better it is for you. There's a lot of wheat breads out there that are processed, but you need to really look at the label, and you want it to be with the big chunky grains in it, so it has those whole grains in it.
And so things like blueberry muffins, they're not really fiber. There's really more sugar in that than anything. So I think that it's about educating, becoming educated with people like you that have been through, that are nutrition coaches, that can teach us and educate us, because, you know, the way they market things is very deceiving. Like Cheerios, it'll lower your heart. It's good heart food. No, it's not. It's sugar-coated junk. You know, it's not good heart healthy food to eat a bowl of Cheerios. So it's the marketing is just, and it's, as kids, they play to the kids, and as we grow up, it's still ingrained in us. So education. Okay, let's keep moving. You kind of mentioned this already about having your plate, have fruit and vegetables. The next one was drinking lots and lots of water, right?
Water.
Again, I got to give credit back to Dr. V on this one. Go figure. He's great at weight loss stuff. I always have a problem drinking water. Not that I'm against it. I'm just so busy. I don't stop and take the drinks I should, because I'm just busy at work. So he explained something to me that just, the light went on in my head. He said, think about you getting off work. You have to drop your dry cleaning off, pick your kid up from daycare. You got to pick up your groceries, and you have to have it all done by 6:30 p.m. in time to get home and watch your show on TV, right? And you get in your car, you get on the freeway, and you go to do your first errand, and it's gridlock. No cars are moving anywhere. Nobody's getting anything done. The off ramps are all blocked off. You can't go. You're stuck. He said that's what happens to your cells in your body that have a job to do when you don't drink water and give them that flow to be able to get to where they need to get. They're in gridlock. And to me, it was like, boom, okay, I get that. That makes perfect sense, you know? So that helped me drink more water when I remember it.
We are cucumbers with anxiety. We are mostly water.
I love
it. You know, I heard that and I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. The thing that is with water too, with dieting, if you eat a lot more fiber, you need water. Your body is mostly water, and you have to flush out those toxins. It's so important. And sometimes you just can't drink a bottle of water. I get it. Okay. Here's some options. Put some fruit in it. That is wonderful. Take and put a few slices of cucumber in it. Let me tell you, if you do that, trust me, you will be running to the bathroom, because it helps with, it's got antioxidant type stuff in it, and it helps flush. Green tea, wonderful. Again, it helps flush out. But you know, we don't need all the chemicals in our diet. I drink a lot of herbal tea that I brew. I love iced tea, so I brew my own iced tea at home. Nicole is asking about fiber. A lot of that depends on your body and how your body reacts to fiber. But I think the national average is between 20 and 30 grams of fiber a day. A lot of that also depends on your diet, and there's circumstances with that. That's something, if you want to DM me about, we can figure out. But again, I think the national average is minimum 20, but even upwards of 30 grams of fiber a day. But again, on fluids, something we found that we really like is taking cucumbers and putting them in the NutriBullet or whatever, and smashing them up so they're pulverized, running them through some cheesecloth so you just have the juice, and putting that in your water is really good too.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay.
Yeah,
try that.
Really detox type thing. But yeah, a lot of people water is huge. Water is absolutely huge. It's critical. It is absolutely.
We have about 1 minute left. So we're going to run through them. Exercise and have fun. Log and track your food. So you can watch patterns developing, and then take 2 breaks away from electronics before bedtime, right? Yep. And then the last one is to be grateful in everything you do every day.
Yep.
All right, Cynthia, we are out of time, love. Thank you so much. It's been very informing. I've learned a lot from you tonight. I'm going to start following your YouTube channel. Hopefully you can put that straining thing you're just talking about with the water, put that on there for me so I can see how to do that exactly.
Yeah.
If you want to get in touch with Cynthia, she's at cynthiadales.com. There are Facebook. She is under the Vegan Sleever, I think it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the Vegan Sleever, and on Instagram, CL Dells. And again, her website is cynthiadales.com. Thank you so much for being here and sharing in transparency your emotions behind your weight loss, your why behind your weight loss, your story with your dad. I appreciate it. Good luck to you. I love you, and we will chat again soon. Okay, Cynthia?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Misty.
You're welcome. All right, guys. So that was Miss Cynthia Dales. I congratulate her for stepping up to be that one to dare to share all of her journey with us. So many of us out there struggle with weight loss. Doesn't matter who we are, man, woman. Doesn't matter what culture, race, religion. It doesn't matter. We deal with it. Society has us to conform to a certain way. And then when we don't conform, we beat ourselves up. We bully ourselves, as Cynthia says. We're our own worst bully. So I hope that from this, you've at least learned to stop bullying yourself, to love yourself, to give yourself that time to educate yourself and love yourself and be grateful for the things you have, and find that root cause. Find what's going on. If you want Cynthia to work with you, I've left plenty of ways you can get in touch with her, cynthiadales.com. Now, if you want to be a guest on the Mistie Layne Dare to Share show, please type the word guest in the subject line and email it to mistielayne@mistielayne.com. I ask that you please share this out with all of your family and friends, and just so that we can spread the message that was given here today, because you just never know who may need to hear the message out there. Also, I ask that you go to Facebook, hashtag Be That One, and join the movement. Like I said, in July, we're gearing up to start some fun and exciting things going on. I am going to be going out for gallbladder surgery soon. It was supposed to be this coming Monday. A lot of things have happened, and I'll get into them later on, but a lot of things have happened, and my surgery has been postponed to July the 14th. If they're doing it, I know Governor Abbott in the state of Texas is now closing down elective surgeries once again. So I know Houston and San Antonio and Dallas have been hit hard. Houston is getting hit extremely hard right now with COVID-19. The medical center is an extremely large area of Houston where there's just nothing but hospital after hospital after hospital. They're full. They're full. The Texas Children's Hospital is now taking adults. The NRG Stadium is now being converted into a hospital. So I hear. I don't know that as a fact. I've heard that. I know my hospital alone where I work, which is in a small rural area, is up to 9 COVID positive patients right now, which is more we had even in the beginning. So take care of yourself. Practice all those safety precautions out there. Stay informed, stay educated, but don't fixate on it. Don't become so enthralled with it that you don't live your life. Okay, don't sit and watch the news 24/7. Get out there, live your life, be healthy, be safe. I love you. I thank you so much for being here. And the question I have for you today is, will you dare to share with Mistie Layne? Love you. Until next time, we are out.